for his opening statement.
Thank you, Madam Chair. American prosperity depends upon entrepreneurs. These are ambitious and optimistic men and women who are willing to take risks, pursue their dreams, and try to change the world. They mortgage their own homes, they put everything on the line to build a business that fills an unmet need or does something better than what's offered today. But throughout history, prosperity and human flourishing has been stymied or delayed by governments that impose regulatory policies to address supposed harms, but in actuality overstated risk in order to protect incumbent operators, often large and powerful companies that didn't want to compete and that just happened to give big campaign checks to the politicians in power. The United States has mostly chosen a different path, one where a free enterprise system governed by the rule of law allows Americans to freely pursue their ideas, grow their own businesses, and compete without having to obtain permission from all-knowing bureaucrats. Today's hearing on data privacy and artificial intelligence is a debate about which regulatory path we will take. Do we embrace our proven history, one with entrepreneurial freedom and technological innovation, or will we adopt the European model, where government technocrats get to second-guess and manage perceived risks with economic activity, ultimately creating an environment where only big tech with its armies of lawyers and lobbyists exist? Consider this. In 1993, at the dawn of the tech age, the economies of the United States and the European Union were roughly equal in size. Today, the American economy is nearly 50% larger than the EU's. The tech boom happened in America in part because Congress and the Clinton administration deliberately took a hands-off approach to the nascent internet. The result was millions of jobs and a much higher standard of living for Americans. Unfortunately, the Biden administration and many of my colleagues are suggesting the European model for AI, based heavily on hysterical doomsday prophecies to justify a command and control federal regulatory scheme that will cause the United States to lose our technological edge over China. The Biden administration's AI executive actions, as well as many of the AI legislative proposals, call for a new regulatory order that protects giant incumbent operators and discourages innovation with supposedly optional best practices or guidance written by all-knowing bureaucrats, some of whom were recently employed by the same big tech firms they seek to regulate, and some of whom hope to be employed again by those same big tech firms right after they write the rules that benefit those giant big tech firms. We already see federal AI regulators and Biden allies talking about the need to stop, quote, bias, quote, misinformation, quote, discrimination in AI systems and algorithms. That's code for speech police. If they don't like what you say, they want to silence it. Now, AI can certainly be used for nefarious purposes, just like any other technology. But to address specific harms or issues, we should craft appropriate and targeted responses. For example, Senator Klobuchar and I have introduced the bipartisan Take It Down Act, which targets bad actors who use AI to create and publish fake, lifelike, explicit images of real people. Our bill, which is sponsored by many Republican and Democrat members of this committee, would also require big tech to follow a notice and takedown process so ordinary Americans who are victimized by these disturbing images can get them offline immediately. The Bipartisan Take It Down Act is a tailored solution to a real problem. On behalf of the teenage girls and others who've been victimized by deep fake explicit imagery, I hope that this committee will take up soon the Take It Down Act and pass it and move it to the floor and get it signed into law. As I conclude, I'd like to address a related matter, the American Privacy Rights Act, APRA. I support Congress, not the FTC or any federal agency, but Congress setting a nationwide data privacy standard. Not only is it good for Americans to be empowered with privacy protections, but it's good for American businesses that desperately need legal certainty given the increasingly complex patchwork of state laws. But our goal shouldn't be to pass any uniform privacy standard, but rather the right standard that protects privacy without preventing U.S. technological innovation. I've discussed APRA with Chairwoman McMorris-Rodgers and will continue my offer to work with her. But right now, this bill is not the solution. It delegates far too much power to unelected commissioners at the FTC. It focuses on algorithmic regulations under the guise of civil rights, which would directly empower the DEI speech police efforts underway at the Biden White House, harming the free speech rights of all Americans. As currently constructed, APRA is more about federal regulatory control of the internet than personal privacy. In the end, it's the giant companies with vast resources that ultimately benefit from bills like APRA at the expense of small businesses. The path that Congress needs to take is to put individuals in control of the privacy of their own data and give them transparency to make decisions in the marketplace. And I look forward to working with my colleagues to do exactly that.